It's the JJYP podcast.
What I don't understand is why you chose security. What is it about security that makes you happy?
I'm willing to
What?
tell you all the secrets.
What?
I'm willing to tell you all the secrets.
Okay.
Okay. The reason why is because I tried to get out of it, okay? It started off when, for those of you who don't know, we have a brother and his name is Aaron. We haven't seen him in a very long time. Which is sad. That's not funny. I love you, Aaron. Anyway, so Aaron, he's the one that was like, hey, there's a graveyard position open. They're paying like $14 an hour. All you have to do is just go there, walk around, and your job is done. And I'm like, are you sure? Because this job is downtown. I might get shanked. And he's like, doubt. And also, figure it out. Like, come on. So
Didn't he get attacked like 3 times while he was working there?
he sure did.
Wow.
Yeah. But he told me to go into it because he was like, you'll be fine. So, like, my first night that I was on my own, there was actually people going around and asking how you felt about Black Lives Matter. And, yeah, if you didn't say what they wanted you to say, you got the shit beat out of you.
Seriously?
Yeah, and that was my first night on my own, and I'm like, okay, this is fine. It's gonna be okay. You know, some people get stabbed and they live and they have happy lives. So who am I to say that this won't go well? Anyway, it ended up being fine. Wow. And it's okay. So anyway, I started working there, and it was a lot of fun. It turns out that there's a lot of people in security that, like, I just mesh well with these people, and I found this little puzzle piece that I fit into, and I was like, this is some weird shit, but okay. And then I was there for 5 years. 5 years later,
I didn't realize you were there for 5 whole years.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And it's because, like, all of the action, and you get to know everything because you are security and you have to know. And I guess I'm just a nosy person by nature. So I tried to get out of it, worked at Amazon. That was terrible. Holy shit. Nobody worked there. It's awful. So then once I was away from security, I was like, man, I got to go back. But I'm not going back to where I was. Forget that place. It was terrible by the time I left. Yeah. So then I looked into hospital security. And I didn't care. I didn't care where the security was at, actually. But the fact that it was hospital security, I was like, that's cool. That is cool. I want that. That's what I want to do. And then, I got into that. And from there, that's what made me want to go into law enforcement. So here we are.
Well, you've done it now total for how many years?
Oh, 7 years in security.
That's crazy.
Yeah, just a higher level of security recently.
See, I think for me, because there's not a one size fits all for everyone, right? For me, I realized that if I were to stay there, I would just end up hating everybody.
Really?
Well, yeah, because I used to be a little compassionate for homeless people. And after working security, I was like, you guys can all go to an island.
Uh-huh.
No, like, this was seriously my theology by the time I was done. I'm like, I have a way of solving homelessness. I have a way of solving it. We create an island called Royal Pente, okay? It's that island that they sent, that's that world that they sent people to on Star Trek.
Oh my gosh, of course.
But hey, come on, who cares? So Island Lepente, okay? And
Nobody will catch on.
You send all of these suckers to this island. And look, it would be a weed out process where you'd have to determine who is mentally ill and who's just like, dude, I can make thousands of dollars a month holding up a sign, and I don't have to live anywhere. I mean, I'm not going to have to pay taxes. I get free health care.
Yeah, but what would you do about, the drugs that they're addicted to? Because I'm not saying that all of them are, but a lot of them are.
Dude, I mean, but that's what I'm talking about. I mean, I remember when the first call came in. I think it was my first week working there.
Mm-hmm.
Training. I'm running the place, and I can't say too much, but you know what I'm talking about.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the call comes in, and they're like, "Yeah, we've got two people. Basically, it was one of the greenie, agents. What the hell are they called?
Security
officer. Yeah. Jeez, brain fart. Sometimes I just sound like a complete freaking idiot. I just hate it. Like my brain just goes. Gah!
Hey, you know what? Somebody in administration called me an agent today. So
You know what though? I like agent.
I was
You're like,
promoted.
Agent, that would be freaking sweet.
Yeah.
Agent Hansen. That's
Agent
what they'd call me.
Spargur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You be Agent Lock, I be Agent Load, and together we lock and load. No, but like the first call that comes in, the kid is just so nervous on the radio, and he goes, "Yeah, it's they're jacking each other off. That's what they're doing." You know where the fireplace was?
Yeah.
Yeah, right in front, right in front of there.
Oh my gosh.
So of course it has to get pulled up on the camera.
Yeah.
So they have the evidence.
Yep.
And PD has to, then you're on the phone with dispatch, and they're like, "And what's the complaint, sir?" Yeah, they've got their hands down each other's pants in public.
Public indecency, I think, is what it would fall under.
They're stroking each other. Can you please come break this up?
Yeah.
And then I had a homeless guy shit in the elevator.
Yes. Yeah,
and
that
piss
happens
in the
often.
elevator. Like, dude, it's just like they're monsters.
They are.
It's like the real World War Z, these guys.
Yeah, they switch back down to Neanderthal level.
It was kind of like a reality TV show watching the cameras because, look, on the slow days, and they encourage it, get on your cameras, sweep the areas, make sure we're safe from all criminal activity.
Yeah.
And you'd watch the homeless people on the street steal from each other.
Yeah.
Like one guy panhandling would fall asleep, and then you'd see the other guy, and he'd like throw a paper cup at him, and he wouldn't move, and then you'd see him go up there and totally raid his sack while his dog sits there and watches him. And it's like, you guys are all a bunch of crazies, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I was like, if I stay in this field, it is going to make me completely hate mankind. And there were a lot of police officers that I worked with that said the same thing about being a police officer. It's it'll either warp you, and I mean, because that's all you're getting called to, man. No one's calling you to say, "Hey, come to a birthday party and let us give you some cake and ice cream." No. It's always the domestic crap,
it's true.
The accidents, the dead people, and certain stuff I'd be able to handle, but there's certain stuff that I'm like, I just don't know if I could leave that at the door at the end of the night. But so I want to talk to you about that now.
All right.
That's what we call a segue.
Welcome to the team.
Welcome to the team. Be nice working with proper villains again. So, by the way, listeners, this is my sister, Kaitie.
Hi.
She's
nice
badass, and I wanted to have her on here to talk about this stuff because I find it interesting, and maybe we'll get into some of the phone calls. Those are some of the funnest things, is when you call me out of the blue and you're like, "Dude, this happened." I'm just like, "Oh my hell,
I'm coming after you, Bruce Wayne."
This is so random.
Yeah.
But so tell me some of the crazy stuff you've seen, man. Give me some stories.
Oh, dude. Okay.
And and I know you already know this, but I just want to premise it. Don't try and keep away from words that tie you to the organization.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? Keep that free and clear in case this ever gets heard by more than 80 people.
Yeah, really. Yeah, or the patients themselves. That would be a nightmare.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Well, one of the nastier ones.
Yeah, give me whatever you're willing to share.
Oh
man.
my gosh. So I was covering at a different location. And we had this guy just drunk off of his ass, and that's always great. So you know that they're going to get naked, and you know that they're going to piss all over themselves or you. It happens every time.
No,
it happens every time.
It's the unwritten rule, dude.
Yeah. And honestly, like these people become NPCs, like in a video game, where you go up to them, you know what they're going to say. You're like, oh, yeah, let's skip. Like, I already know where this is going to go. Yeah. And that's
we
exactly...
know you were abducted by aliens. Yeah. They molested you.
Yeah.
And after that, you didn't feel right about working. And that's why you're down here with a sign.
Yeah. So that's exactly what's going on. All right. I'm like, okay, here is how it's going to go. Guy smells so bad. And so he pisses himself, of course. It's all over the room.
Now,
and
so he pissed. Well, he didn't piss himself because he didn't have anything to do himself on. So he's naked at this point.
So he came in with clothes on. Okay.
Okay, but so when he started peeing, was he naked?
No. Then he was naked after that, and then pissed again after that.
He drank a lot of water.
It was great. Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude, and it was so nasty. And so I'm helping this poor nurse. I'm like, there's nobody else to help him. And so I'm just in there. I'm holding stuff. I've got gloves on, but still, I want to rip my skin off. I'm like, I can't. Oh, it's so gross. And so then after we get him cleaned up, we can't keep him on the bed. Like, why? Why? He keeps turning himself upside down. He keeps hanging his head over the rail. And we're like, stop. I'll call him Jeff. I'm like, Jeff, you're going to fall. Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah. And then he starts talking. And I'm like, dude, I don't care. Stop. You need to lay down like a normal person. What's your problem? That's not even comfortable. And so anyway, paramedics show up to take him to another place. Okay. They're going to take him to another hospital that can offer better care when we're really just like, we can't deal with this, man. This location that I was at was way too small to handle his problems. Okay. So they come in.
So they didn't have a psych unit.
Yeah. But also they didn't have the staff to deal with that kind of crazy.
The craziness. Yeah.
Like it was a really small location. They can't do that.
Now, what do you guys get to protect yourselves?
As security?
Yeah.
Our fists.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, when I'm at the main location, I've got a police officer with me 100% of the time. So, I mean.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And that's another reason I was on the fence for a really long time. I was like, I don't want to go into law enforcement. That sounds like a lot of work. And then I started talking with them and I just got really excited about it. And I was like, man, I feel like I've found my calling.
But even with what's going on in the world right now?
Absolutely.
Really?
Even more so because of what's going on in the world right now. Like that drives it even more. And I know I'm psycho. All right.
No,
I already know.
No. See, I just had a friend on who works as a helicopter mechanic for the military, and she was. I was telling her that obviously was thanking her for her service, and in a way, you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that it takes a certain person to be able to do that, and I just know I'm not one of those people. I just don't. I don't know what it is. I can't explain it, but I just am not. I'm not a soldier. I'm just, that's just not in my. That's just not my repertoire. And after I saw what I saw, and I mean, there was the guy that jumped out of the building to commit suicide, and man, I'm just like, this is affecting me.
Yeah.
And this isn't something I want to get used to. Like, I want to be good in emergency situations, and I feel like I am. I feel like when shit hits the fan, I can stay calm, cool, collected, and have a good thought process there to articulate the situation. But there is other stuff that I'm like, I don't want it to become an acquired taste. And I'm not saying that I'm not knocking it.
Oh, no.
I totally think that it's
you're just being honest
so
with yourself.
Badass that you can do that, but so seriously, it's way cool. But that's why I wanted you to tell these stories. So keep talking about the guy. So
the paramedics show up to transport him to the bigger place, and he goes, I don't want to fly. And they're like, that's good because we're not gonna. That's not what's going to happen. We just need you to go from the bed to the stretcher. Like all it takes is a little scoot whoop, and you can be there and it's okay. And he goes, you guys are a bunch of dumbasses. I just told you I don't want to fly. They're like, I don't know what else to tell you. We're not flying. It's not going to happen. I promise. Would you like to stand up and get onto the stretcher? I don't know how many times I have to tell you. I don't want to fly. You know? So finally they were just like, okay. And they picked up his arms and legs and transported him over. And he goes, whoa.
Oh my gosh, dude.
So finally they strapped him down and they got him transported. But man, dude, I can still smell that smell when I think of that memory. And it's so gross.
I know that this is terrible, but when I used to work in the medical field, I happened on a body that had been stinky.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, no, like that's a smell.
Oh no,
that
you do
don't
not forget.
ever get out of your freaking nose, man.
No,
the smell of a rotting body is nasty.
No, it is.
And
it's really gross.
Man, it's like, and I already have a weak stomach in certain situations. And there was one time I walked in. And you do the whole knock thing, and you introduce yourself as maintenance because they don't know what the hell's going on. And
the majority of the time,
come in here to check out your sanitization dispenser, and I'm talking and everything, and trying not to make a lot of noise. And as I'm walking out, I see the chart tag on the bottom, and it's deceased, and I'm like, oh my hell.
Yeah.
I've been talking to your dead corpse this entire time, trying to be quiet.
You've entered the Twilight Zone.
Seriously. But it's funny, but at that point, I felt a little eerie, and I was just like, okay, peace be unto you, goodbye.
This was fun, but not a lot of fun.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, dude. That's not my cup of tea. So, okay, you've dealt with that. What's the procedure when someone dies in your facility? What do you watch people take the bodies? Like, what is your role in that whole thing?
I take the bodies.
Yourself?
Yes. I mean, I've got a nurse with me to sign the book out that says, yeah, this was my patient. And this is when I handed them over to the mortuary's care, essentially. But yeah, it's me. I go and pick them up. And,
oh, man.
But the majority of the time they're in a body bag, but sometimes I have had to bag them.
Well, those body bags are pieces of shit.
They are.
They rip.
They really are. But you know what?
Quickly.
I think they do that so that they can't be reused. I think they do that on purpose.
What would be the problem with reusing a body bag?
Serial killers. I don't know. You know what I mean? People are weird, man. Like, it's just, it's to protect the patient. So
I think it's so the freaking companies can sell more damn body bags.
I mean, probably that too, but people are freaking weird.
No, I'm sure.
Damn.
Well, and sorry, a hospital. I mean, I remember working down in the ER, especially when it gets into the AM. That's where the party is, dude. The staff in the ER is a special staff.
They sure are,
because they have
love
to
them
deal
so much.
It's that's the crazy time down there, man.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, people. It seems like the beginning of the month, everybody gets off of the same bus. And they're like, God has let me live another day, and I'm about to make it everyone's problem. Like, that's exactly what it's like.
Have you had to tackle people?
Absolutely, I have. Yeah. I mean, there was this guy who had a warrant out for his arrest, okay? So he's drunk off of his ass. Why are they all drunk? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of alcoholics in the world.
What the hell else are you going to do here?
I know. So he tried to leave the hospital. But he sticks out like a sore thumb because he's got a gown on. Duh. So, I'm like, hi, where are you going? Because I had no idea. I honestly didn't. I was like, are you okay? You're stumbling. It doesn't look like you're safe to leave the hospital on your own. Where are you going? And so he keeps trying to run around in circles. And I'm like, I think you escaped. That's what I think, because you can't give me a straight answer. oh, I'm just going to walk. No, there's no way in hell the hospital let you leave with you in this condition.
Dude,
so
it sounds like you're running a daycare. That's what it
yeah,
sounds like.
that's
you're doing.
exactly what it is.
That's
except
how I
these
felt.
Kids,
Those homeless people, it is like dealing with a bunch of freaking overgrown children.
it is. Yeah, only worse because their poops are bigger.
Oh, yeah.
They have bigger vomit messes and they can typically pee more. So, I mean, and they're bigger so they can like swat at you and that'll actually do something. So,
No, I remember we had a guy that came in, went into the bathroom, went into a stall, and wouldn't come out. And someone said that they heard a lot of sloshing. And so we had to do a health and safety, you know? Who was my dude at the time? Dang it. Who did I start out with?
were you on Graves or
no, Swing.
Oh,
You know who I'm talking about, though, right?
MG.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love him so much.
He goes in there. And he comes out, and you know how professional he was on the radio.
Yeah.
And this is why this job is not for me, dude, because everything was just Comedy Central for me. And he comes out and just serious dispatch. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, he's bathing in the toilet. The splashing that we heard was him taking the water out of the toilet to wash his hair.
Oh man.
And dude, like I'm literally like I can't respond because I'm laughing. And I'm like, you got to pull it together because you know they threaten you like
I
any
know.
playing around on the
Good
radio.
night.
That's like
Because freaking Dragon Lady. Like, oh my gosh, I hated her.
Oh, sorry that we're freaking human beings.
Yeah,
Mrs.
really.
Powers.
Yeah, seriously.
Seriously. Wanted to punch her in her fat head.
Me
If you're
too.
listening to
Oh
this
my
fat
gosh.
head, I hate you.
Yeah, so
just
do
kidding.
I. You're
I
the
don't-
worst, though.
I don't hate anyone. I didn't mean to use the word hate. I strongly dislike your ass.
I hate you. I'll say it.
Katie's like, I don't know, two shits given. I'm in security, bitch. I hate you.
You have no power over me
We don't
anymore.
hide our feelings, see, and
You
that's the
have
difference.
No power over me.
So, what are the cons? What don't you like about the job?
Oh hell!
There's
I
gotta
really
be-
don't like being there in sacred moments that are supposed to be only for a family that I have to be there for because they were acting like jackasses. Like, that sucks. That really sucks, and that stuff stays with me.
But be
Because-
more specific. What are you talking about?
Oh gosh. So like sometimes when people go through an extreme amount of grief, they lose their common sense.
Oh yeah, their ability to
Yeah,
use
they
cognitive thought.
because the first step in grief is denial. This is
Right.
not happening. You're lying to me, and now I'm going to take it out on you. And so we get called, of course. And we almost have to take him out of the hospital because you can't do that. I
Right.
understand. We all understand. But you can't threaten staff just because you're grieving. And that's hard to say. It's almost like telling people how to grieve, and that's not what we're trying to do. We just don't want to get hurt. You know, and that people they're just so caught up in how they're feeling that they stop thinking about what's going on outside of their situation. So they don't understand, A, and B, they think that you have some magic cure that you're not giving their family member because they heard about it somewhere and they know you have it and you're just not giving it to them. So you're going to have hell to pay now. So I have to go up there and be the one that says, listen, you keep doing this stuff and you're not going to be able to be here when your loved one passes away. And you know that they're passing away. Like, they're at the last stages, you know what I mean? And so another thing is that you can't explain to the family member that is passing away what is going on. All they see is you talking to their family and your family losing their mind. And so automatically you're the enemy. Why are you taking my family away from me? I am so scared right now. I need them. Why are you here? And there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. I can't explain why I have to do what I have to do. I can't tell them this is for your safety and this is also for the doctor's safety and all of these nurses on this floor's safety. Like,
are there a lot of people that are alert as they're passing away?
yes.
Can you give me like a rough statistic? Like, of all of the deaths, have you seen a lot of deaths then?
Yeah.
How many would you say you've seen?
Oh gosh, I can't even give you I guess it depends on what you count as witnessing a death. I am called when there's a code blue.
Right.
Because when there's a code blue, I need to respond and make sure, again, that family members aren't trying to break in the room.
Bust the F out, yeah.
Yeah, and tell them that they're not doing enough. I've been there when people haven't come back from trying to be resuscitated. So at that point, I guess they're already dead, technically, and they need to be brought back. And I've been there for several moments of that. And I've also been there when somebody has been up and talking and fine, and then another minute they're coding. And you think to yourself, well, they were just talking. Like, they're going to come back, and they don't.
See, how do you get used to that?
You don't. And that's what keeps you human. You know what I mean? Like, you still have empathy for these people. And that's what's important. Like, that's honestly what keeps me grounded, is going through that and realizing how lucky I am to be where I am and to have the family members that I have, because in a second it is gone and you don't get that time back. And it is very unfair and very painful to watch these people go through that. And all you can do is warn other people.
See, I'm starting to come up with a theory of why people do such crazy things in their life. I was just talking to a friend the other day, and he was talking about how he likes to rock climb.
Mm-hmm.
And you're thousands of feet. You know what I mean?
That's part of it.
Holding on to your freaking life with a rope, sticking anchors in a crack.
Mm-hmm.
And and I'm like, yeah, that sounds like that's something I don't ever want to do.
Yeah. Maybe you should stop doing the cocaine, man. Have you ever thought of that?
Exactly. But greatness lives on the edge of chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we do those things because we're bored and it's our experience level. And so to push yourself to that next uncomfortable moment, because that's where you derive growth.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, I hope to experience all that I can so that I can be of use to other people, so that I can have the skills to say, it is okay if you are panicking. I am not. I will be your calm in the storm. It's okay because I'm here and I know what to do. Like, that's my ultimate goal. And that's why I want to be like part of every disaster response team that I can, because I want to, I really, my end goal is just to help people. Like, that's really what I live for. I enjoy being there for people when they need somebody. And yeah, sometimes it's exhausting and sometimes it gets to me and I go home and I cry because it's not just adults that die. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Go ahead. Talk about that. I think that's part of the pie.
Yeah. That's the hard part about my job, is that nobody could have prepared me to deal with that. Like, trigger warning to everybody listening, we're going into child deaths. All right. If you don't want to listen to this, I mean, skip ahead a few minutes and see if it's over.
It'll have a disclaimer at the beginning of it. Yeah.
there was a specific time that still gets to me. It was, there was this little child who was around the same age as my youngest daughter. And he had some rare genetic disorder where his brain was just going away, and there was nothing they could do to stop it. And they slowly watched his personality fade further and further from them, and eventually he's just stopped smiling and responding, and they never knew when the last day was going to be when they were going to see him smile. And it was horrible. It was horrible. I've never met these people before, and I'm here on the worst day of their lives. And he had the same blanket that my daughter has. And it hit home so hard. But I couldn't let my guard down in that moment. All I could do is be a shoulder for them. They had no idea who I was, and I was taking their son from them to the mortuary vehicle, because that is my job, and I'm going to get your son there safely. Like, I take pride in taking care of these people that have passed, because I know that I'm doing it right, and I have all of the respect for these family members and for these children, that I take down and I treat them the same way that I would treat my family if my family had passed away. Especially the kids. And when it comes to the kids, I like to go alone, because it's too much emotion, and I can't some people, when they go through something like that, they joke about it. I find it easier to do that with the adults, but if I were with somebody who chose to joke about a child's death, I wouldn't be able to, it would just be really awkward for them, because I wouldn't be laughing.
Well, you know my big fat mouth. When I get uncomfortable, that's how I cope.
Yeah. And I do that with the adults.
Right, but there's certain experiences that happen in your life that give you lines of what even you can't joke about to make yourself feel better.
Yeah. And that's hard, because my coping mechanism is joking.
Right.
And there was nothing I could do for myself even in that moment, but be there for them and take him down to the mortuary vehicle, because I knew I couldn't imagine doing that as a parent. And I knew that that was such an essential part of his care, that I needed to do that for them. I needed to take this bullet for them, because I can't imagine taking my child down and not seeing, like, them driving off with my child. I couldn't.
Are you able to keep your composure?
Yes.
How? See, and another reason why there's no way. Like, dude, I would be defeated in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard, but in the moment when things like that happen, it's really weird, but my brain shuts off. Like, I go into autopilot.
I kind of understand what you're saying.
And those emotions are not felt at that moment. I be what I have to be.
Maybe I equate it to in a scary situation where I'm scared, but I don't want my kids to be scared.
Yes.
So I act like everything's cool. Yeah. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit.
I know, just like,
things are going to get crazy.
Yeah. When those earthquakes happened and the aftershocks, I was like, it's fine. Everything's fine. Let's just go see Daddy, because we might die. Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. But then it shuts off when the clock ends. You know, I clock out, I get into my car, and I bawled the entire way home. And some when I got home.
Have you ever read George Bernard Shaw? Any of his works?
No.
There's a quote in one of his books, and it says, "This is the true joy in life, the being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one.
Yeah.
The being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community. And as long as I live, it is my privilege to do whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die. For the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle for me. It is a sort of splendid torch which I have got to hold for the moment. And I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it over to future generations.
That's exactly what it feels like.
And I think
To a
that
T.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you, because look, I love serving people. I just do it. I just have to do it in a different way.
Yeah, which is totally fine. Like, you just need to be honest with yourself. That's important because, like, if you put yourself in those situations and you know deep down that that this is not something that you want to handle, like, that's not only putting yourself in danger, that's putting others in danger as well in that moment. So, I mean, there have been people that have been hired on even, and they talk up this big game like they can handle themselves.
Do you need a tissue?
No, we're good.
Okay.
But then it comes down to it, and they can't. And who's in trouble at that point? The police officer, the patient, the staff, mostly the staff and the police officer, because you're supposed to be there as a team. But they end up carrying all of the load because you're too scared. Anyway, that person ended up quitting and was honest with themselves and said, this is too hands-on for me. I'm scared shitless. I can't come back here. And I'm like, well, I mean, that sucks for the rest of us because now we have to pick up your slack. But
You're one of the first people, though, to spend time with the body.
yes.
Any weird things that have happened in that department? I'm always curious about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. When a code blue happens and they're in the very beginning stages of trying to bring you back, there's a point where you can tell that they've left and it's over. And it is so odd that you all feel it at the same time. Like, that's bizarre to me. That is proof in my eyes that there is energy.
Dude, you're awesome.
That can't, I mean, you are energy, and that cannot be destroyed. It just gets transported somewhere else.
Right.
And you can feel it leave. How else would we all be able to pick up on that at the same time? Like, we all know when it's going to be called.
There was this panel of scientists that gave a talk as a panel a couple of years ago, and they were talking about how each one of them in their respected fields went and researched this phenomenon. People that have claimed that they have left their bodies while they were being operated on, or the one that really caught my attention that gave me chills is they have hundreds of documented cases where children have claimed that they're someone that they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them kept telling his mom, I'm not your child. I fought in the Second World War. This is where I lived. This is where my house is. This is who my wife was. This was and so she got a hold of this institution, and they took the time and money to go over and the kid was, 5 years old. Spot on. Knew people that have been deceased for a long time. Like, there's no way on earth the kid would know that. And it really got me thinking about energy and the possibility that there's evidence there that there is reincarnation.
Yeah.
And I started thinking about it. If you did want to get to a perfect society where everything was perfect, in my mind's eye, you would have to have perfect empathy.
Yeah.
And the only way that you can get perfect empathy is to experience everything.
Yeah.
And the only way you
That's
can
true.
experience everything is if you get to go through until you gain all of the experience that you need to finally graduate to the perfect empathy.
Yeah.
And maybe that's completely, you know,
And I mean, that's
smoking the tube, but
no, you're right. Though.
Energy is, I mean, it's very interesting. That's how you described that, though.
Yeah.
Because I think there is an energy that leaves, and maybe that's a consciousness. I don't, you know, obviously
I don't know.
how the hell
Yeah,
that works,
I don't know, but you can definitely feel it, like it's tangible.
I'll have to find that video and send it to you.
Okay.
But dude, it's like it is so hardcore, and you're just sitting there listening to these guys, and they're skeptical scientists.
Of course.
The majority of them aren't religious. And one of the people got up and said, "So has this changed your perspective on whether or not you, do you all believe in God now, essentially?" And they were like, "No, we're like we're skeptical. Like we're still skeptical. We're going into this with the true intent as a scientist, which is to not prove yourself right, but to prove yourself wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's the scientific method. Is at the end of the day, you're not trying to, you know, pat yourself on the back. You're trying to prove your theory wrong.
Yeah. And
that's how you derive perfect results. And they're finding ways to quantify this. And I can't remember. It's been a while since I've watched it, but it's made me, and I've talked about it on my show a lot. But I look at energy as a currency. For instance, I asked you to come and spend time with me to do this podcast. Essentially, on an energy level, I have asked you for a loan.
Yeah.
And based on the return on investment you think you're going to get is how you determine whether you're going to go spend time with people. But then there's the energy suckers.
Yeah.
The vampires, you know what I mean? That constantly leave you feeling empty.
Drained and like
you
need to take
just
a
don't
nap.
have the money to keep throwing at this, you know? And it's a hard thing to learn. But when people bring you down to the point that you know that they're just not a positive energy in your life, it's not that you have to completely cut them out, but you have to set boundaries. And you have to distance yourself because you know that road is going to lose you money.
Yeah.
It's going to lose you energy.
Yeah. And you're going to be burned out and not want to go. Seriously, just some people, you're like, damn, that conversation was the worst. I need to go to sleep for 16 hours.
I need to go bash my head against the wall.
Really, somebody get me some freaking caffeine.
I need to go tackle a naked man in the park just so I can get over this.
Just so that I can feel
better
alive
about
again. Yeah, really, honestly.
No, I can, and you know what? After having that conversation, I can totally better see where you're coming from on that.
Yeah.
See, I would have never equated. Everyone's got their own thing that makes them tick. Mm-hmm. And you've found a way to have a job that keeps you on your toes and makes things exciting for the good, the bad, and the ugly. But that's life.
Yeah.
We have to do that as parents, right? We're we're just guides. That's all we are. We're just guides. We're not dictators.
Right.
And it's the hardest part about being a parent, though, is knowing that they're going to go and get hurt.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do about it.
You want to protect them to a certain extent, but at the same time, those stumbles and those falls, that's the cost of tuition that they pay for the education that they receive.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I've been reflecting on this in my own life, and I feel like I've gotten a lot more out of my stumbles and falls and my failures than I have my successes. And so now I'm like, you know what? I want to go down the uncomfortable road.
Yeah.
I want to put myself in uncomfortable situations because that's how you come away and appreciate, you know, it's when I've as you know, I've always had a hard time with depression.
Right.
For the most part. Later on in my adult life when it happened, but definitely now. And sometimes going and conquering one of my fears or putting myself in a situation I wouldn't normally put myself in pulled me out of that.
Yeah.
and service is the other one. When you go and you help someone, and you know that you're affecting someone else's life.
Yeah.
That the feeling that you get, and that's kind of why I did this whole damn podcast thing, was to, some people are going to hear your stories, and everyone has their own big fat heavy inconvenient bastard of a cross to carry up the road. You know what I mean? To Galilee. and it's when we hear other people defeat their trials, it gives us hope and stamina to hang in there in the real shitty times.
Yeah.
You know, thank goodness for the good souls that make life better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you're one of those people. For them, you probably, in the heat of the moment, because you're going through such a traumatic experience at that time, don't realize what a advocate or blessing you have been to the family members in those situations.
Yeah, because I mean, even after they've treated me like shit, or they've treated my partner like shit, or these doctors that I love so much like shit, I mean, I still give them a hug.
Do you ever show up to a real scuffle and be like, order? There will be order here. Order.
I mean, kinda.
Put your life vest on.
Yeah, really.
We're not even by water. Put your life vest on.
Buckle up, bitch.
Buckle up.
Yeah. There are some times that I have regrettably gone into a situation already fired up.
And how does that work out?
I mean, it's not something I'm super proud of.
Well, what is that supposed to mean?
I just, it really just pisses me off. It pisses me off so much when these nurses are doing everything in their freaking power to keep you alive, literally, and all you can do is bitch about literally every single little thing. No, not today. Oh my gosh. Yeah, seriously. So I go in, oh my gosh. I don't even give him a second to talk. And I'm just like, no, you need to stop treating the staff like shit. And I don't want to come back in here. I am not talking to you again. And if I do have to talk to you again, we're going to have some problems. Stop. You're acting like a freaking 5-year-old. Get over yourself. God. Nothing pisses me off more, dude. And I know those nurses and those doctors personally. And so I know that the care that they give these people, okay? And I know that their heart of hearts is in it. And you're still treating them like shit? Like, wow, okay, why don't we just drop you off in a ditch somewhere and see how happy you are then?
Dude, people get so entitled.
They really do.
Like when I used to be in the restaurant business, man. You know, they come in and they think that they're sultans all of a sudden because they come into your establishment to order some food, I do say.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, I don't give a shit. Why don't you take the pull out of your ass and maybe you'd sit down a little more comfortably?
You need to go see the proctologist before you try and eat anything, bud.
Yeah, like, nothing makes me more mad. It's just like they are doing the best work that they know how, and the skill set that they have that you don't, to keep you alive. Like, why did you come in here in the first place? To just bitch at these people, or did you want help? Oh, you wanted help? Then shut the hell up and sit down.
Nice.
You have no right to talk to them the way that you're talking to them right now.
I like the way you're talking to them, though.
Yeah. And I yelled too. Like, damn, this freaking, it just makes me so mad. Like, these old dudes that are like ancient. They're like, well, I was in the military. Well, are you right now? No, look at where you're at. Your ass is in a bed, bro. Like, you need help. So why don't you shut your mouth and stop telling them, come on, you guys are doctors. You should know. You should know what? Explain the procedure to me then, Dr. Phil.
So come on, give me your worst altercation where things got physical and you had to like totally Jackie Chan someone in the ass. How does that work out?
Oh, hell.
See, I wouldn't be able to work with you because you'd go off on those tangents, and I've always just thought you were hilarious, and I would just start laughing. You'd end up turning around and start yelling at me, too. By the end of it, both of us would be sitting on the bed. We'd both be getting reprimanded.
I know, huh?
I mean, he used to be in the military, but Josh, you work here.
I can't do this shit anymore. You need to get your life together. Yeah. Most of the time people are naked. I don't know what it is. You lose touch with reality and also your clothes. So, I mean, you stop being human, I swear. Like, not in our eyes, that's not what I'm saying at all. But you stop having human characteristics.
Right.
And
like a zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of. That sounds so sad.
No,
but yeah.
I look, and they can't do anything about it now because I'm not working there. But I used to call that place World War Z.
Yeah, because
that's how I would refer to all of the homeless people as zombies, because that's what it was like. And look, I'm not saying every single one of them, okay? But I've experienced enough. Even when you're kind, I've seen people like, hey, I'm not going to give you money, but here's some food. And they give them the food and they're like, oh, thank you. Hey, do you have some spare change though that you could? I just gave you some food, man.
Or they're like, wow, only one burrito? Yeah. Only one breakfast burrito?
You didn't get me a value meal.
Yeah, seriously. And it's
you
like,
son of a bitch.
Are you for real? Give it back then.
Yeah, seriously.
You're not happy?
Yeah.
Wow. Good for you. Look at you in your life right now.
No, man, I really feel like some of that stuff, and look, some of it's sad, but I feel like most of it, I feel like most of it is understood, and they know what the hell they're doing. And they've got the system down. They know they're going to get away with it. If they get arrested, I mean, we had a homeless guy tell us, well, if they arrest you, you just tell them you're not feeling good, and they can't take you to a hospital, so they have to and it's like, you're never going to see a jail cell.
Yeah. And that's the really unfortunate part about it, is that they know what they're doing, and the jail won't take them. The jail won't take them if they can lie and say that they swallowed heroin. Don't do this. If you're listening to this and you're thinking about doing this, shut the hell up. Go to jail and do the time. Can't do the time, don't do the crime.
Do the crime.
All right?
Or don't get caught. Jeez.
Seriously, stop being a dumbass. Anyway, it's hard to pinpoint like the worst altercation because they're all so similar. Like, guy loses touch with reality, okay? Takes his clothes off, and also gets super strong. Also, when you lose touch with reality, you just become Hulk. That's my experience every damn time. I think the most exhausting one by far was when we had to hold a guy down that was ridiculously strong for over an hour. That was a full body workout. Holy shit.
Literally, you're not like over
No, I am not. It was over an hour.
Where
and it
the
was
hell
because
was anybody?
Well, they kept pushing meds. That's the thing. Over the course of this hour, they were still pushing meds, and he was not going down. And I'm sweating to death, man, at 6 a.m. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm tired of this shit. Why can't we just whack him over the head? Like, honestly, it was so exhausting. And I'm like,
you're in a whole place filled with drugs. Like,
yeah.
Why can't you give him like some Thorazine or something?
Seriously, like, where's the fentanyl? Okay, let's just whip that stuff out. It was horrible. And, like, he honestly, he had a condition, okay? He had a condition where he was not in control of his emotions and what he was doing. He didn't understand what was going on, but that doesn't change the fact that we have to, keep other people from getting hurt. That doesn't change.
Right.
You still have to protect them.
Yeah,
because he would even abuse his mom. But it's because he was not all there mentally. It's not that he was doing it purposely per se. He was just acting based on survival. Like,
do you see a lot of those cases? Like, do you ever have a normal day at work?
Not what others would deem normal, but yeah, there's other normal days at work, sure. Like,
I mean, when things are slow, do you go up to those doctors that and be like, "Hey, will you just give me a CAT scan, huh? Scan the old brain, let's see how things are ticking."
I mean, I've thought about that before. But the only thing that I don't want anybody to get in trouble.
No one's getting
people that don't work there anymore.
Okay.
They don't work at the hospital anymore. Okay. But I was still pregnant at the time.
Uh-huh.
And I asked them to do a scan for me, and they did. And that's not why they don't work there anymore. Just saying. That's not why. That was fine. I mean, but yeah, that's the most I've done, though. I haven't been like, hey, can you do an x-ray on my foot? I think I screwed some shit up. Like, could you do an MRI scan on my brain?
See, and I did. Well, I mean, because I was in labor and delivery a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And, dude, I would play with those ultrasound machines. Once I figured out how to use those damn things, dude, I was ultrasounding everything.
Dang.
So
Dude.
be badass.
Yeah, I've played with some of the equipment. So, like, there's...
So don't pretend like you're better than me. Jeez.
What? No! Oh, my gosh.
I don't do anything bad.
If
well, I did this.
knew...
Yeah, I did that too.
I did that too.
Don't try and one-up me.
If I knew how to use the ultrasound machines, I'd be sneaking into rooms all the time and being like, let's check out the baby.
When I was installing those night pumps that ran the Prolistica that was like a pre-soak for the surgical instruments before it went into the machines.
Oh, yeah?
Well, they would have us install those in the morgue as well, because after autopsies and stuff like that, they would have to pre-soak that to get any, material off of it. But when I'd be in the morgue by myself, dude, I'd always open the doors. I would, man. I'd always see if there were bodies in there.
Oh,
It scared the hell out of me too.
Did it really?
It did. Just like. You know what I mean? It took a long time to get the guts to slide the tray out,
You
Well, here's the thing. You know what's creepy, though? And I'm sure you've experienced this, too. But I remember there was a hospital in Vegas. And, dude, people were dying left and right that day.
Well, yeah, it's Vegas.
And yeah, that's a good point. I don't know why.
Yeah, really.
And I was going down to the morgue to install something, and there were gurneys or beds all lined up down the hall with sheets over people. And that was their dead.
Damn.
Yeah, because there was no more room in the morgue. So there was no way to keep them cold. And so and I remember talking to the staff, and just the stuff that the regular public doesn't know. But like anything else, dude, sometimes you have to cut some damn corners.
Yeah, you do.
It just is what it is.
Yeah.
But I remember talking to the staff, and they're like, dude, sometimes they're here for a couple of days, and we have to like rotate them out.
Yes, you do. And that's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, I'm a sucker. I used to assist when I could, because I hated seeing people, doing it by themselves, and
it's hard. Like,
do you have
to serial killers,
do
man.
Do you have to move the bodies by yourself though?
No, I usually have the nurses help, especially now that I'm pregnant and I'm not supposed to lift over a certain amount of weight.
Yeah, so you just don't like hoist them over your shoulder.
No,
and walk them down to the old fridge.
Then I would be a certified serial killer. No, I honestly don't know. Like, how do they move not to get too graphic, but without chopping them up?
Yeah.
How do you move them how do you do that? Did you lift weights before this career path?
How do you deal with the rigor mortis situation? Do you
Well,
run into a lot of rigor?
It depends on how fast the family gets there, and it depends on what they died of. So, like, if it's a COVID situation, they have to wait an hour or so after they've died until you can come pick them up, because that's when they consider them not contaminated anymore, or when the air is not leaving their lungs anymore. Because
that takes an hour.
Yeah. Which, thank goodness, because that gives the family plenty of time to.
No, I mean, that's true.
Yeah, and I don't. Whatever precautions they want to take, because damn, I'm not going through that again. You know what I mean? Like, that was crazy.
Well, and I don't know if you knew this, but when you die, like, there's different kinds of death. Like, your brain has to go a certain amount of time without oxygen before your brain shuts down.
Mm-hmm.
So you can die and your brain is still alive for, I think like up to like 10 or 11 minutes or something like that. Isn't it like after 6 minutes, there's brain damage and I can't,
I think
all the
so.
training I got, I don't remember it all. But,
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
but so, I mean, to think about that there is still consciousness for a certain period of time before, or you know what I mean? The brain is still firing.
Yeah, and trying to keep you alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Because your body is, wired for survival. Like everything in your body is working to keep you alive.
Right.
And yeah, that's crazy.
It is nuts.
But no, I don't move the bodies alone. I have the nurse help me. We roll up the bag or the sheet and the bag because, the bags are shit. So you roll them up. One person is on the other side. And usually I've got somebody here, like to the side of me as well. And we roll up the bag, 1, 2, 3, and move them over onto the tray.
Have you ever heard the death moan?
Yes.
Isn't that creepy as shit?
Yeah. And like the first time I was like, "What? Yeah, well, are you sure he's dead?"
What the hell was that?
Yeah. Are you sure? Yes, there's no pulse. But are you really sure?
I'm telling you what right now.
Yeah.
If I go to shove this old bastard in this fridge and he starts waking up, I'm just dropping him.
Yep.
I'm not staying around. Yeah, really. Let me out. Cut your own self out.
You're on your own.
I'm out of here. I quit, by the way.
Yeah, that would be pretty freaky. But I haven't ever ran into huge problems when it comes to rigor mortis. Usually they're just, you can't obviously move them. It's very difficult. Like, especially with being pregnant. Like I picked up a guy's legs and I was moving him over to the tray, and because I was half expecting his legs to bend, his feet went into my stomach because guy up here was pushing him down so that he would fit onto the tray. And I was like, "You son of a bitch." But it was fine. I mean, that's the only thing that you run into. And when their arms are stuck this way and the tray is here, and their arm is hanging over, it's hard to, because you don't want people to see that. You don't want people to see the bag.
Dude,
you don't want people to see even the shape of a body part.
And you know what? I think that's kind of stupid in a way.
Well, but some people are not mentally.
But that's because of the sheltering that we do, though. I mean,
or they have schizophrenia.
Back in the day, dude, when you died, like someone would make you a casket, or you'd have to make the casket yourself.
Yeah.
They would have the viewing in the living room, and then the town would put them close the casket, nail it shut, and then everyone would take them to where they're getting buried. So everyone handled, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone had to handle their own shit. And now that's been so segregated.
Yeah.
The bodies die and then all of a sudden they're shipped off to Club Med.
Also, like if you're a patient in a hospital and you see somebody take a dead person by your room, it's like, oh, that could be me tomorrow.
Well, it is a confidence, kind of takes the wind out of yourself a little bit.
Oh,
I'm going to fight this. Who's that? Billy just died. Oh, shit. Maybe I won't.
Well, I guess we'll see.
Maybe I shall leave in that bag.
Yeah. I mean, I do wish death was a little more normalized. Like with how, with everything that I've seen, it's definitely more normalized now, where I know exactly what's going to happen to me when I die. Like, but that's also kind of comforting. Like I've decided that I don't want to be pumped full of chemicals.
No.
I want to be put in a biodegradable box.
Yeah.
Put me in the ground and let me become become one with the earth again.
Yeah.
That's fine with me.
Return the
yeah, or plant a tree over my freaking body and let me feed the tree, man.
Have you heard about
I want to
that
become
company?
A tree. Yeah.
That company that's taking bodies and refining them and turning them into these pellets.
Yeah.
and then you bury the pellet into the ground, and then they plant a little tree, and the roots go down and take what's left of your body remains and grow up into the tree.
Like,
That
honestly,
is so
your
cool.
essence becomes this giant, beautiful tree. Like, that's what I want. I want to be a freaking tree, man. You know, like, they grow so tall and they're so strong. Like, what a better way to... And then your kids could come visit you, and it's like they touch the tree, and they're literally touching something that is a part of you.
Dude, it's the true circle of life.
Yeah.
Check this out. You die, you get pelletized, they turn you into a tree, you get reincarnated, you come back as a dog, and you end up peeing on your
the
tree.
same tree.
Holy
That seems
cow.
fair.
That's a paradox.
Yeah, really. I feel like I know this tree.
Okay, but come on. When you've been alone and you've been doing stuff like, oh, tell me, have there been any, what do people say before they die?
I don't think I've heard anybody's last words yet. I've heard, like, I've been up on the floor and they'll be saying something repetitively. And then they code later on. But there's only one time that I can think of where that happened. And it was just this guy that kept saying, Mom. Like, over and over and over again.
See, now I know that that's been chronicled. I've heard a lot of the, like, in the wars,
Mm-hmm.
when people would be dying, the soldiers would scream out for their moms.
Oh, that's so sad.
No, it is. I mean, that's a whole different situation, though. You're not, I guess you could obviously still be scared in the comfort of a hospital, but to be on foreign soil,
Yeah.
and have the shit shot out of you, and you're spending your last minutes, you know. I do often think about that, because death has been a major thing for me my entire life.
Yeah.
It started out way negative because I was always scared that Mom and Dad were going to die.
Me too. That was my biggest fear,
That was
and I
my
had
biggest fear.
nightmares about it all the
I
time.
hated when the babysitter would come.
Me
and they would go
too.
out to dinner, because I'm like, well, this is what's going to happen. They're going to go out to dinner. They're going to get wiped out by a truck driver. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some
That was
officer's
my
going to come
fear,
back.
too.
Then I saw the movie The Witches. That sure shit didn't help. So
Good night. What the hell were
I
they
know.
thinking?
Seriously.
Yeah. I also had nightmares where Mom and Dad would chain me to a fence and leave me there.
Wow.
They'd be like, "Okay, well, bye. Good luck to you." And I don't know where it came from, but I have like this mega fear of abandonment, and that's proof right there that
Yeah, dead bodies, anything like that scared the hell out of me. I even remember, like, when the pets would die. I wouldn't want to see it. I wouldn't want to be around it.
You're like, screw this
I
shit.
was,
I'm out of
man.
here.
I was a little wuss. But as I've gotten older, and then, you know, obviously through different occupations, you know, I used to work for an infusion company. And I was responsible for going and taking the IVs out and grabbing our IV poles and the med dispensers and everything like that. And we'd have to go home or go back to the shop and sanitize them and then log them back in. And there was one call in particular. This elderly lady had died. And when she died with her hand around the IV pole.
Oh, no.
And dude, like, no pun intended, she had a death grip on that thing.
Yep.
Like, I had to tell the family that they needed to leave the room because I thought I was going to break her fingers getting her hand off. And I'm like,
sometimes you have to.
See, and that's where perfect example of my sense of humor. They all leave. The door shuts. I'm uncomfortable as hell.
Yep.
Everyone's bawling. I can hear wailing out in the hallway.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this lady and I'm like, listen, bitch, I have got to get this pole back. And you've got to let it go because if you don't, I'm going to have to saw your arm off. And I don't want to get busted for armed robbery.
Oh my gosh, dude.
No, but dude, I did. Like, I had to, I shouldn't be saying this, but I think his memory serves me right. There was a butter knife in there. And I had slid the butter knife in between her fingers so it wouldn't, like, hurt her. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's such a thing.
Yeah.
And pried that off so I could get her hand off it. Dude, it was the worst. That was
Yeah.
the worst experience. But, you know, a couple more days like that, and you just like, oh, here we go.
You know what stays very mobile is your eyes. Like, I've been present for eye donations.
Uh-huh.
And your eyes will move around like blip, 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 no matter how long you've been dead. Like
What?
So they take the top layer of by the way, when you get an eye infection, it is the top layer of your eye that gets inflamed and irritated and not your actual eye. You know that? I learned that from them. I'm like, damn, you guys know a lot about eyeballs, don't you?
But I also know that a lot of the eye is made of liquid.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way I've been told is you only have a certain amount of time because those eyes will shrink.
Oh, yeah.
Like raisins.
Yeah.
And like, because don't they put marbles or some kind of...
it's like a plastic ball.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They put those in the eye sockets and then they sew the eyelids shut and then do mascara over that.
Mm-mm.
No?
So, from what I've seen, they don't do makeup, the eye donation people. But they'll take the eyes out and then they put these plastic balls in there. And then they have this thing that's colored like a Band-Aid. But it's got little pokies that will grab onto your eyelid and keep your eyes closed.
Oh.
So, yeah.
How wonderful.
So you put the ball in there and then you put the Band-Aid looking thing on there. And then your eyelid goes down over it and your eyes won't open again.
Wow.
So, I mean, I do know though.
So you've seen them remove eyes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you seen what the inside socket looks like in their head when they take that out?
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
The only time that it really was like, wow, was the first time. Because I was like, okay, I'm about to witness what the insides look like. That was very, I'll be honest, okay? Like, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to see? What am I going to see? Like, I can't leave now. I've got to stick it out and watch this happen. And after I watched it happen, I was like, oh, that's really not.
Well, because
that's not that complicated or bad.
It's like looking inside a car engine.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's different because it's it's a human body, but it's interesting to see how the components work.
Yeah.
I remember
like why you can't turn your eyes, all the way around. Like those muscles and those tendons, you can feel pull when you know that they're there,
right?
Because you've witnessed them cut that area of your eyeball.
I mean, I remember going in during autopsies.
You're so lucky.
And
I've never been.
They had the ribs cracked.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was open, and obviously, I couldn't go over very close to the body.
Right.
I was doing my thing, but occasionally I would ask questions, and they would be, receptive. But I've seen them when they deglove the head.
Uh-huh.
And dude, it's very, very, very fascinating. And then I went to that human body exhibit.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen those where they do the plastification and they have real human bodies, but they've peeled the skin off?
Oh yeah.
And everything, and they put them into certain positions.
Uh-huh.
Dude.
I want to go.
Cool. They had a complete cardiovascular system.
Yeah.
Injected with dye, and then they light it up with a black light and then stick it in a preservative fluid and light the whole thing up.
That's
so cool.
I want to go so bad. That sounds so awesome.
The next I'll find out where it's at. They used to have it down in Vegas. I don't know if they still do, but
I think they do. I'm pretty sure it's called the Human Body Museum.
Yeah, the Human Body.
I don't know.
I can't remember what. I think it was the Luxor. I can't remember, but
yeah,
they had it in Salt Lake City for a period.
They did not.
Yes, they did. Yeah,
wow.
I saw it in
jerks.
I saw it in Vegas, and I saw it in Salt Lake City, and there was another place that I saw it, and I can't remember where. That might have been California, but
wow, could you
Los
imagine
Angeles.
transporting that shit? That would be nerve-wracking as hell.
No, they've got like these special bags that they put them in, and what they did is they dipped them in foam, so the bodies fit into these boxes, and the foam is perfectly proportioned how they've done the body to hold the body up.
Damn.
But they've got bodies throwing a football.
Yeah.
Like, and dude, you can see the muscles, and dude, it is so cool. And once you see that, it completely changes your perspective on human anatomy.
Yeah.
And the more I was around that kind of stuff, I just got more comfortable with it.
Yeah. I got really comfortable with it when I was a CNA in high school, or when, I was going through the certification process to become a CNA.
Right.
I worked in a hospice center. And so I had to learn postmortem care, and I actually, when Mike's grandma passed away, I assisted in the postmortem care for her.
Wow!
Because the CNA that showed up to do the postmortem care was by herself, and I was like, moving a body by yourself is hard. I will help. And so, I don't think they were mentally prepared to do that. You know what I mean? I think they would if they had to, but I was willing to step in and be like, no, you don't need to do that. I'll do it.
Yeah. So you probably say that was probably the best day she ever had. Seriously.
The CNA?
Yeah. Because she's in there probably thinking, oh shit,
I've got to do this all by myself. Yeah.
And you're like, I actually know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
I remember, I know this is kind of like off subject, but I remember going through handcuff training.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, but the reason why I bring that up is that's another uncomfortable situation. Like, you don't think about it until you're in the situation, but arresting someone isn't the easiest thing to do.
No, people are squirmy.
Mentally, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And then
Funny times.
going from the handcuff training to extended training has been really cool. Like, freaking taser training was, that was crazy. And I didn't, that shit hurts. If you have the option to not get tased, you shouldn't.
Did you get the prongs?
Mm-hmm.
Man, what did that feel like?
So because of COVID, there weren't two people on either side of me to hold me up and then lay me down. Like how you see in normal tasing videos. So I just laid it. Like, I was falling asleep during the first half because it was hella early in the morning.
Uh-huh.
And I was dead tired. I was actually falling asleep on my drive there. So sitting through the class, it was horrible. So sitting through the class I had way too much caffeine, all right? Way too much. So then you add adrenaline to caffeine right before you're going to get frickin' shot. So I'm laying down on this mat. I cannot breathe normally. I can't. He's saying, breathe in, breathe out. And then he goes, taser, taser, taser. Pff. And I just, like, he shot me right as I exhaled. And again, my heart's going a million miles an hour. I'm breathing way too damn much. And so the oxygen is just sucked out of my body. My body's like, we need to scream. And I couldn't because I didn't have any air. And so I just go, it was so damn embarrassing. Like, oh my gosh.
She sounds like a little piggy, Bill. Do it again. Hit the trigger again.
Yeah. And so they're like, are you okay? Are you okay? This guy gets down on the floor next to me and he's like, breathe, breathe. And I'm like, I'm trying to breathe. God, shoot her.
Shoot her.
I'm trying to shoot her.
When I get up off of this ground, I'm going to kick your ass.
Yeah, really. So then they put their hand on my back and grab the prong and pull it out. Like, damn. Yeah. And the weird part about the healing process is that, like, it gets itchy. You know what I mean? And so, like,
no, I don't know what you mean. I mean, I've been in a lot of police cars, but I've never gotten tased.
That's so good. I'm so happy for you.
So
don't
am I.
do that.
I don't want to get tased. That doesn't sound like a good day.
Well, like, when a scab or something is healing and it kind of gets itchy.
Yes, I know
it was
exactly
like
what
that,
you're talking about.
except the wound was a little bigger, and it's like on awkward parts of your back because you can aim all you want, but you can't control where the prongs are going to go.
I ever tell you the time I fell asleep in a tanning bed?
Oh, no.
Yeah. fell asleep in the tanning bed, got tanned way too long. And my back, dude, itched like the plague. I remember crying.
Yeah.
Crying because I couldn't satisfy. The only thing is I recall that would remotely satisfy the entire thing is I'd have to go in the shower and turn the water on as hot as I could stand it and squirt it on my back.
You psychopath.
That's the
Man,
only.
I do cold.
No, cold. Oh no, cold is that like really sends you through the roof.
Really?
Yeah, no, the hot created pain, which itched the itch.
Oh yeah.
And so it was like, oh yeah, baby, this is the best back scratcher I've ever had. And it would last for about 5 minutes. And you get out and you'd rub yourself down with a towel, and then like 2 seconds later, you're just like, you just couldn't.
Yeah,
you just couldn't do it.
When we were in Bear Lake, because it was overcast, I was like, oh, it's fine. No, it was not. So I got a really bad sunburn that blistered all over my forehead, my cheeks, my nose, my chest. It was terrible. And I went through the same thing where I was like, I'm going to claw my skin off. And so I had to get like, I used ice, and I got ice packs because it would numb it. And I would keep that. I fell asleep with it on my chest, and I woke up fine. Thank goodness. Like having an ice burn on top of a sunburn. Could you imagine? But yeah, I woke up and like, I was like, damn.
That's a complete contradictory.
Yeah, really. I can't do this
Element.
anymore.
You burned yourself and then you froze yourself.
Yeah. But I woke up and my face was wet. And I was like, what the hell? Am I sweating? And it was just the blisters popping all over my face. It was really gross.
Disgusting.
Yeah, it was horrible. I looked like a freaking leper.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, my skin was peeling off of my face.
I did like peeling my skin though
Me
after
too.
sunburn.
Mm-hmm.
That was oddly satisfying.
Yeah.
And I would like try and pill it in a way that I could keep it all one piece.
Yeah, but
I
the
would
damn
get
hair
so
on your
pissed.
arms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would get so pissed when it would break off. I was like, that was going to be a good one.
Damn, double down.
Damn, double down.
Yeah, it sucked.
So are you going to be a cop?
Yeah, that's the end goal.
You're going to do it?
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't like that.
I know.
I don't, dude.
Here's the thing.
But
I want to be chill.
But I don't think you'll turn into a douche.
No, I don't think I will.
I think you're going to be okay. It's more of the safety facts.
I know.
You know? Just like there's a war going on out there, man.
Mm-hmm.
This defund the police bullshit. And I'm sorry, I just don't think they care about you.
The people?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course they don't.
The leaders, man. You know what I mean?
The leaders of the police?
No, not so much the leaders of the police, but the people that fund the police, like, Congress and all that.
Oh, yeah, no,
you know?
they don't give a shit. But I know the chief of police. And so
Really?
that's,
No.
it's, yeah, really. Like, it's weird to talk with him and to be like, oh, shit, you might be my future boss. This is so weird. Can I be a person right now, or do I have to be, like, professional and act like a soldier right now? Because, I mean, you're going to be interviewing me in the future. This is so weird. Yeah, but he's a really cool guy. And
No, I remember knowing, Robbie Russo, the chief of police in Cottonwood Heights.
Mhm.
He's a freaking awesome dude.
Yeah, the only people that you need to really watch out for is Highway Patrol, because they do not give a shit.
Don't even get me started on those bastards.
Oh my gosh, dude. Even the cops that I work with.
I know, dude. Nobody likes the damn Highway Patrol.
They're like, dude, I'm a cop, and they'll still give me a
seriously,
ticket.
dude.
They would give a ticket to their own grandmother.
They would, man.
Yeah.
Those bastards. And you know what? That's kind of a mentality, it seems like, everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Not just in Utah, because obviously I've gotten pulled over in every godforsaken state I've driven through. And when you get pulled over by the freaking Highway Patrol, you just know.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you're like, I'm getting a ticket.
You're like,
Doesn't
well,
matter
this
what
is
the
it.
freaking crap
Might
I
as
say.
well just pull everything out and get ready.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sucks.
No, it does for sure. Well, I mean, good for you. I mean, I do. I support you, and I
really
wish then. Are you gonna plug your? Gosh, damn it! what platform are you on?
Oh my gosh, TikTok.
TikTok. Are you gonna plug your TikTok, or do you not want to?
Prefer not to.
That's fine. You don't have to.
You guys.
You have
I
quite
don't
the
know.
following, though, don't you?
Not really. Not
No?
really. There's like 390 people that watch me right
Oh,
now.
Wow. Well, you have more people than my podcast does, so good for you.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's going to climb. I have all the faith in the world that that's going to be just
that's
fine.
great.
I mean, it takes time though.
No, it does. It's something you definitely have to put a labor of love into. But you know what? This has been one of the funnest things I have ever done.
Yeah.
It has been so cool. I mean, when I bring people in and we're able to sit down and have conversations like this, it is just, I don't know, it's oddly fulfilling.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to do it because you love it, not because of what the outcome is going to be.
And that's exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. But I do hope, I don't know, and I guess numbers make me feel like I'm making a difference, but that's what I hope is just enough people care about it and are liking it as well. Because, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there have been so many people and situations in my life that I've been lucky enough to hear that have changed me for the better. I mean, I think you can find positive attributes out of anything, even if it's crappy. And
I feel like you're more open-minded when you're not a part of the conversation.
Oh, totally.
Because, you know, like, you don't feel like you're being personally attacked. You're literally just listening. And my mind has been changed about a lot of things by simply just listening.
But you should always be willing to have your mind changed.
Well, yeah, but then there are other people that purposely talk to you just to get a rise out of you.
Oh, no,
you know what
totally.
I mean?
Well,
and
I mean,
those people...
I play that part sometimes.
Oh, my hell. God, it drives me nuts.
I'm supposed to be that way.
Yeah, I feel like that was
I'm your older brother. I'm supposed to give you shit.
Damn, dude. God, and these damn... I feel like the personalities that I grew up with follow me around, and I'm a magnet for them, man. Like, these police officers that I work with, I feel like I'm working with my damn brothers, and I'm like, knock it off. Stop touching my damn hair. Go. Keep your hands to yourself. You've ruined me.
No, I think going back to what we were talking about energy-wise, I think you train your energy output to hit a certain frequency. And that frequency attracts other frequencies like that. So I see people that break up with people, and then, like, time goes by, and they're like, find other people that are the same,
like those people.
Other people. And you're like, so how's it going? Oh, I'm just so glad to have been, gotten rid of the last one. She was terrible. It's like, dude, you just carbon copied her.
Yeah.
And stuck her in a different body.
It's so weird because she just has brown hair.
Seriously. I still want to ram her head through drywall.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Really. This is crazy to me.
But that's, I believe that derives from people that haven't, figured out themselves enough to change that frequency and to attract a higher class, essentially, that's going to be better for them.
I agree.
Yeah. And I just
attract the tricksters.
Cool. It's cool, though. I mean, would you have it any other way? No, see, you wouldn't.
No.
You wouldn't.
No,
you
love
it. You're sick.
I know. It's a problem. And you know the song by Pink, True Love?
Oh, yeah.
Where she's
I
like,
love Pink. Shout out to Pink.
Same time, yeah, I know. We love you.
We love you, Pinky.
Where she's like, at the same time, I want to hug you. I want to wrap my hands around your neck.
Yeah.
You're an asshole, but I love you, and you make me so mad. Yeah. That's every police officer that I work with. And one of them that I work with on a regular basis, that's a field training officer, he was like, so when are you going to become a cop? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Why? And he's like, I'm going to request to train you. And I'm like, no, the hell you won't.
That is not going to happen.
I'm like, why? So that you can nitpick the color of my shoelaces? I don't think so. And he's like, sorry, you don't have any control over that. Whoever is your FTO is your FTO, sucker. Like, oh my gosh, here we go, man. But
Okay,
again.
well, this is the true test then.
Okay,
and if you fail it, you'll never be back on the podcast again.
Great.
So this might be it.
All right, cool.
If by some chance I happen to be in your state and you pull me over for speeding, what's the situation going to be like there, Kaitie?
Dispatch, you can disregard. It's code 4.
There we go. That's my buddy. Hey, no. Go with God, my son.
You know what? Hey, we got a 1096. I think we need backup here. Subject may or may not have a weapon. I don't know.
So look, I know you've got to go. But
Yeah,
before you
unfortunate.
go, I just want to get into the paranormal talk just one more little time
Okay.
because I didn't feel like I got enough juice from there. So come on, like when you're with those bodies, do you ever feel like there is a presence with you?
I have one time.
One time out of how many times though?
Oh gosh, I've
because you've
taken.
done this a lot, right?
I've handled a lot of bodies, like probably at least.
I'm gonna
I
totally
know.
take that out of context.
I know you will because
Kaitie
here we are.
Spargur, I have handled a lot of bodies. Now we know she admitted it right on the air.
Oh my gosh, kill me now.
No, it's what you did to them, Kaitie.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You're freaking gross.
I work for the BI, body inspector.
Body inspector. That's nasty. Oh my gosh. Speaking of body inspector, did you know that when they take your eyes, they have to go over every single tattoo that you have? Like they have to go over every wound and scar and tattoo. And I have no idea why. Why? Why do you have to do that?
You didn't ask?
I'm gonna the next time that I do. You know what? I think I did. I just forgot.
Okay,
That
you
makes
need
sense.
to find that out because now that's interesting.
Yeah.
But don't they do that in general anyway?
Maybe for an autopsy, but I've never been present for that. And I've never been present for, like mortuary care. I've seen it on YouTube, but that's different.
Yeah, I've never had the pleasure. Did you know Dad wanted to be a mortician?
That makes so much sense, though. Like, Dad is so empathetic. You know what I mean? And I feel like Dad would actually care about the well-being of the family and the...
He totally would.
Yeah.
He'd be like, well, we're going to make you look really good, little buddy.
Yeah. Like, okay, sir. Like, I feel like Dad would call him by first name because that's what I do.
Yeah.
And, I'm a product of Dad. So, I mean...
Yes, you are.
I think that would have been cool.
So do you talk to them?
Sometimes I do, yeah. I always say sorry when I bonk their head when they're sliding from the bed to the tray. There's no way you can stop it. Like it's not like they're helping you. You know what I mean? They don't hold their head up and make sure that
carry your heavy ass.
So I move them from the bed to the tray, and you hear thong, and so I'll go.
Oh.
I'm so sorry. Like I'll usually say, "I'm sorry, buddy," and.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm sorry, little buddy.
I'll be like, oh man. And then, I have to do that because it just sounds, I know they can't feel it, but it sounds painful. And so I'm like, damn, like, are you okay?
Oh,
of course I
man.
know they're okay. They didn't feel anything.
Well, and when your body's wet, when you're not holding up anything.
Yeah, literal dead
like,
weight.
Come on, you've had the child that freaks the hell out.
Oh my gosh.
And you go
Yeah.
to pick them up and they just drop
Uh-huh.
all of their, and dude, I mean it's heavy just picking up a little bastard kid that's freaking out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. That's why I say, like, how do you serial killers? Let us know. How do you do it? No judgment here. Just list yourself as anonymous.
But you think about it, it would be difficult because there's a lot of it, also depending on how it happened. There's a lot of mess to consider.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Clean
and
up.
like they spill out. There are things that, like, if they were bleeding before they died, once they die. And their body is just draining everything.
You just
like
go.
you don't know what's gonna come out.
Isn't
like
it
damn,
amazing how quickly, like minutes after the body dies,
it's already started
started
decomposing.
to decompose.
Mm-hmm. Because that's what your body's meant to do. Like it's meant to decompose and become one with whatever.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's kind of nasty when you become one with your carpet, but
yeah,
like, damn. But like, I'm fortunate because I haven't experienced far decomposition. You know what I mean?
Good for you.
So I can smell when they've been in there for a little too long. You know what I mean?
Well, I all the jobs that I have had,
Yeah.
I used to do the disaster cleanup.
No freaking way.
And
You did not. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I'd have to go in sometimes after murders or suicides or whatever and suck up the carpet.
I didn't know
and
you
stuff
did that.
like
How
that.
old were you when you did that?
That was just after I did appliance repair.
No freaking way.
Yeah.
And you never.
The guy that owned the appliance repair bought a carpet cleaning van and started doing disaster cleanup. And so they would call us out every now and then when their other vendors were too busy.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, sometimes you'd roll up on people that had killed themselves or OD'd and they died and no one knew.
Yeah,
and then
and
all of a sudden someone finally breaks in. That's what I'm talking about with the smell.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't necessarily come from being in the hospitals, but oh, dude.
Yeah, because in the hospitals, it's obviously more controlled. But
No, it got to the point, man, where I could smell a body from blocks away.
yeah,
I'm like, okay,
yeah,
I'm like a hound dog now. I
like,
can tell you where they
damn,
are.
Those body bags. If I smell it outside of work, it makes me sick.
Ooh, yeah.
Like it's just the smell of the plastic, and it's freaking yeah, it's nasty, and like it's.
Do they ever fart in the bag as you're carrying him down the hallway?
No,
like, oh, Mr. Jones.
Oh my gosh,
That's naughty.
yeah, that would be. I mean, honestly, we would probably laugh, but no, I've never had that happen. I've never had. I mean, I've had them leak.
Oh yeah,
and that's not great.
No.
I mean, but there was one time where I was putting a guy in the morgue. And after I slid his body in there and then shut the door, I swear on my life, okay? I swear on my life, I heard a guy say, well, shit. Like that. And I was like, yep, so sorry about it.
Well, shit.
Yeah. And I'm like, glad you have a sense of humor about this, but I gotta go. Please don't follow me home. And yeah, I mean, there are times where I've felt eyes on me, but it's never been a creepy feeling, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it totally
it's
makes
always
sense.
been just like an observing feeling. And that's why, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm always respectful. Because you don't know. You don't know. Where does that energy go? What is it capable of? Does it know? Does it have consciousness? Who knows?
I'm going to be interviewing a 97-year-old here pretty soon. And
Are we related to this?
no.
Oh.
And
Bummer.
I'm anxious to ask her about her thoughts on death. It is curious to me when you know your time's coming and the time the sun is setting in your life.
Mm-hmm.
What their thought process is, and it's amazing to me that most seem very calm.
Yeah, and they're ready.
And it's just like a natural kind of like I always wondered when I had kids. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna be the shittiest dad. You know, like I love kids and everything. I wasn't worried about like, you know, beating the hell out of them or anything, but
Yeah.
I was like, man, how am I gonna do this? And it's like you see that baby for the first time. And all of a sudden, there's this switch.
Yeah, it's a literal switch.
It's like these chemicals open up
Mm-hmm.
and get released, and oddly enough, you're ready.
Yeah.
You feel confident, and
Yeah.
and you just jump into care mode.
Mm-hmm.
And it's worse. So it's not as bad when I'm with like my wife, when I'm with Jess, but when she leaves and I know that there's no one to take care of them, it even increases even more.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm controlling this and I'm gonna run this biatch.
Yeah.
And I wonder if death is a lot like that, where you just know that it's okay and it's a natural thing and it's another chapter.
It's interesting because every single nurse that I've talked to, especially on the ICU, they've said that these patients that are close to dying will wait until they see a specific family member or until all of the family members have been able to say goodbye, and then they will pass. Like, I find
Wow.
that so interesting. Or that they'll say, your dad is here. And dad's been dead for how long? Like, and it's crazy to me that they'll be like talking to somebody who's not there.
And but that's what I was talking about. When I asked you if you'd heard people talking and saying things.
Oh, no, I personally haven't.
Oh,
the nurses that I've talked to
the nurses have told you.
Yeah, because there's no reason for me to be there, typically, before they die.
Right. Unless someone's being, like, belligerent and
exactly
could be a risk.
Mm-hmm. So, but I've heard that from several different nurses, where they'll wait to see a specific family member or until after a holiday passes to then die.
Wow.
And I just like, that's crazy to me that I don't know whatever controls that. And then there's something called the surge, where right before they die, they get all of this energy and suddenly they're able to say all the things that they wanted to say, and they're able to say their goodbyes.
That's the dopamine though. The DMT.
Yeah, I mean,
you get it when you're born, and then and from what I've read, you get it just before you die. And it's kind of like your body's natural way of making you feel kosher.
Yeah,
so
and
you're
not
terrified.
Well, I mean, and you also get to say everything that you want to say.
For the most part. I mean, it obviously isn't all the way across the board, right?
Well, yeah. But I mean, you have energy and you have at least one more day left where you're lucid and you actually know what's going on. And people get to spend one more day with the real you, and then you're gone.
I know that this sounds creepy, but I eventually did get comfortable being in rooms with bodies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so am I.
I remember when Jessica's grandpa died. It was in the morning. We'd shown up, and there wasn't very many people there. And I literally sat in that room with him by myself. And I don't know. It was just really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I would maybe now compare it to meditating. There was this, I don't know, there was this centered peace.
Mm-hmm, it's very peaceful.
You know?
To where you're not forced to fill the silence.
Right.
And you're just existing with another being that may not be existing with you, but I don't know, you're in that moment together, and it's peaceful.
Just look at him. Go, you're a shell of the man you used to be.
Oh my gosh. What's really weird is being in the same room as somebody who's the same age or close to the same age as you.
That sucks.
That is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
You're
I
like,
remember,
damn, I feel like I'm looking at myself right now.
I remember the first time I had a friend die that was my age.
Oh my God.
And it was, that was weird. That was
you're
weird.
Like, man, I'm not invincible.
Well, no, and that's when you find out just how uninvincible we are.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary to think about. It doesn't take much.
No.
I mean, Bob Saget. I'm really getting sick of hearing about Bob Saget. Bob Saget. But bumped his head, went to bed, and didn't wake up in the morning. Dude, I didn't mean. You know what though? He would have laughed.
He would have.
He would have thought that was funny as hell. But no,
That's true.
I really appreciate you taking the time. This will be something that even if no one gives a shit about, I'll give a shit. I'll have it for the rest of my life. So it's important to have these conversations.
Yeah.
And more often than not, we don't ever get to keep them. And this is a really, really unique way of, you know, I figured out what it was. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be like some kind of an audio guide for my kids.
Yeah.
To look back and really know who their dad was because they got to hear all of these conversations.
Mm-hmm. And
different facets of my personality come out depending on who I'm talking to.
It's like a time capsule.
It is. So that's why I think I'm doing it. And it's good for me to be able to connect on some level and talk to the, people that I'm talking to. But I really do appreciate you. I love you. And
I love you too.
it was kind of fun growing up with you.
Thanks. I appreciate that a lot.
No, you're freaking awesome, dude. And when you have some time later on down the road, you've got to come back on.
Oh, I'll be back.
Give us an update on some more stories. And
Yeah, because
maybe by that time you'll be a popo.
yeah, that would
Will
be
you
cool.
let me drive your car?
Absolutely, maybe.
All right.
I don't know if that's allowed.
I just want to. We just want to do hangover. Can we just go? Can I just want to randomly pull people over?
No, you cannot do that. Oh my god!
Ah, sucker.
Will you lose your job for me? Holy shit, dude. But yeah, have you heard that song, 100 Bad Days Makes 100 Good Stories? 100 Good Stories made me interesting at parties. That's my life now.
Oh, that's freaking awesome.
And then he's like, no, I ain't scared of you. And I'm like, yeah, this song pretty much fits.
I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you've been listening to the Just Josh and You podcast. Appreciate you sticking around. If you're still here, please share, like, subscribe. I want to build this as big as we can to spread the joy and the wonderfulness of the people that we get to talk to. Right now, I'm going to have to say peace be unto you, and we'll catch you on the flip side.